Several workers at a Canadian company facing deportation. Several workers at a Canadian company are facing deportation due to immigration status issues, despite being long-time contributors to the workforce. The video has raised concerns about the treatment of foreign workers and gaps in Canada's immigration and labor systems. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. In May 2025, 7 employees at a Canadian company are at risk of deportation due to new temporary foreign worker program rules, leaving their employer and families in distress. This video explores the impact of these changes, the challenges for businesses, and what can be done to address the issue. What's happening to these Canadian workers in 2025? 7 workers at ircc Industries, a pollution control equipment company in Laval, Quebec, are facing deportation as their work permits near expiration. The company, which has been operating since 1975 and employs around 90 people, relies heavily on these skilled workers, who are certified welders. However, recent changes to Canada's temporary foreign worker program, introduced in November 2024, have made it nearly impossible for the company to renew their permits, putting their jobs and their lives in Canada at risk. The workers, including Fabian Milano from Colombia, are pleading with the Canadian government to ease the new rules. Milano, who holds a closed work permit tying him to ircc Industries, shared his anxiety, saying, "I'm stressed." Meanwhile, the company's president, Tony Vasilikis, emphasized the critical role these employees play, warning that losing them could severely impact production. What are the new TFW program rules in 2025? The Temporary Foreign Worker Program allows Canadian employers to hire foreign workers when local talent isn't available. However, starting November 2024, the Canadian government introduced stricter rules to prioritize hiring Canadians, especially in regions with high unemployment. Here's what changed. Higher wage requirements. In areas with an unemployment rate of 6% or higher, employers must now pay temporary foreign workers at least 20% more than the median wage for their role. For ircc Industries, located near Drummondville, this means paying welders a minimum of $33 per hour, up from previous rates. Stricter LMIA rules. Employers must submit a labor market impact assessment to prove they can't find Canadian workers for the job. Applications that don't meet the new wage criteria are now being rejected. Focus on local hiring. The changes aim to encourage companies to hire Canadians first, particularly in regions like Drummondville, where unemployment is high. These rules are part of a broader effort to reduce Canada's temporary resident population from 7% to 5% by 2026, as outlined in the 2025 to 2027 Immigration Levels Plan. While the goal is to address labor market imbalances, the changes have left businesses like ircc Industries struggling to retain skilled foreign workers. How are these changes impacting Canadian businesses? For ircc Industries, the new TFW rules are a major setback. The company relies on its 7 foreign welders, who are certified by the Canadian Welding Bureau, a qualification that's hard to find locally. Tony Vasilikis, the president, explained, "Even though Drummondville has a high unemployment rate, it's not like I can just find welders here." He added that losing these workers would create a significant gap in production capacity, potentially harming the company's ability to meet demand. The frustration is palpable. Vasilikis noted that ircc Industries followed all the federal guidelines when hiring these workers years ago, but the new rules have changed the game. "It feels like we've had the rug pulled out from under us," he said. The company now faces a tough choice: either pay the higher wage of $33 per hour, which may not be financially sustainable, or lose the workers to deportation, leaving a void in their workforce. This issue isn't unique to ircc Industries. Across Quebec, businesses are grappling with similar challenges. The province has long relied on temporary foreign workers to fill labor shortages in sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and healthcare. However, recent policy shifts such as the suspension of low-wage LMIA applications in Montreal and Laval until November 30, 2025, and the reduction of eligible occupations for simplified LMIA processing from 267 to 76 in February 2025 have made it harder for employers to hire or retain foreign talent. Who are the affected workers? The 7 employees at risk of deportation are skilled welders who have been with ircc Industries for years. One of them, Fabian Milano, is originally from Colombia and came to Canada on a closed work permit, which ties him to his employer. If his permit isn't renewed, he'll be forced to leave the country, uprooting his life and leaving his family in uncertainty. Milano's stress is evident. "I'm stressed," he told, reflecting the emotional toll of the situation. These workers are not just numbers, they're integral to the company and the community. They've built lives in Canada, contributing to the economy and filling roles that are hard to staff locally. Losing them would not only disrupt their lives but also hurt Quebec's economy, especially in industries already facing labor shortages. Why are welders so hard to find in Quebec? Welders, especially those with CWB certification, are in high demand across Canada, but the supply of local talent is limited. Here's why. Specialized skills, CWB certification requires specific training and expertise, which many local workers lack. Aging workforce. Quebec's aging population means fewer young people are entering trades like welding, creating a skills gap. High unemployment doesn't equal available talent. While Drummondville has a high unemployment rate, the unemployed workers may not have the skills or qualifications needed for specialized roles like welding. This mismatch between unemployment rates and available skills is a key reason why companies like ircc Industries turn to the TFW program. However, the new rules don't account for these nuances, leaving employers in a bind. What are the broader impacts of the TFW changes in Quebec? The changes to the TFW program are part of a larger trend in Quebec and Canada to tighten immigration policies. Here's how these shifts are affecting the province. Reduced access to foreign talent. Quebec has suspended foreign recruitment missions, like Journeys Quebec, until mid-2025, which previously brought in hundreds of skilled workers, such as engineers and nurses, from Europe and Africa. The province also reduced the list of occupations eligible for simplified LMIA processing, making it harder for employers to hire foreign workers in many sectors. Economic strain on businesses. Business groups, like the Conseil du Patronat du Québec, have warned that these restrictions could force companies to scale back operations or even close. Dennis Hamel, a strategic advisor, told in November 2024, "We need to depoliticize the issue, think things through, and assess labor needs." The Montreal Chamber of Commerce has echoed these concerns, with President Michel Leblanc stating, "We're shooting ourselves in the foot, undoing something that was highly strategic." Pressure on temporary workers. Many temporary foreign workers, especially those in low-wage or intermediate-skill roles, like TER 4 and 5, are now ineligible for permanent residency pathways like the Quebec Experience Program due to suspensions in the program's graduate and skilled worker streams until June 30, 2025. With work permits expiring and no clear path to stay, thousands of workers across Quebec face the risk of deportation. Potential economic fallout. Economists warn that reducing access to foreign workers could hurt Quebec's economy, especially in industries like manufacturing, where ircc Industries operates. Skilled workers contribute to productivity and innovation, and their departure could lead to reduced output and higher costs for businesses. What can be done to help these workers? The situation at ircc Industries highlights the need for immediate action to support temporary foreign workers and the businesses that rely on them. Here are some potential solutions. Ease TFW program rules. The Canadian government could create exemptions for industries with proven labor shortages, like manufacturing, allowing companies to retain skilled workers without meeting the new wage thresholds. Extending the validity of existing work permits for workers already in Canada could give them more time to transition to permanent residency or find alternative pathways. Create pathways to permanent residency. Quebec could reopen the temporary foreign worker stream of the Quebec Experience Program, which is still accepting applications, and expand eligibility to include workers in intermediate skill roles like welding. The federal government could increase permanent residency quotas for temporary workers through programs like the Canadian Experience Class or provincial nominee programs. Support businesses with labor shortages. The government could offer subsidies or tax incentives to companies in high-demand sectors, helping them meet the new wage requirements without financial strain. Investing in local training programs to upskill Canadian workers for trades like welding could reduce reliance on foreign labor in the long term. Advocacy and awareness. Workers like Fabian Milano and employers like Tony Vasilikis can advocate for change by sharing their stories with the media and policymakers. Public pressure may encourage Ottawa to reconsider the TFW rules. Immigration advocates, like the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association, have already raised concerns about the impact of these changes on vulnerable workers, calling for more flexible policies. How can affected workers protect themselves? If you're a temporary foreign worker in Quebec facing a similar situation, here are some steps you can take. Check your work permit status, confirm your permit's expiry date and start the renewal process at least 6 months in advance. Explore other immigration pathways. Look into programs like the International Mobility Program, which doesn't require an LMIA, or apply for permanent residency through the PEQ's temporary foreign worker stream if eligible. Consult an immigration lawyer. Firms like Cohen Immigration Law can help you navigate the complex rules and find alternative options to stay in Canada. Communicate with your employer. Work with your employer to explore solutions, such as applying for an LMIA under an exempt sector, e.g., manufacturing may qualify for exceptions in some cases. The bigger picture, Quebec's immigration challenges. The plight of ircc Industries workers reflects broader tensions in Quebec's immigration system. The province has taken a cautious approach to immigration in 2025, aiming to balance economic needs with social and cultural priorities, particularly preserving its francophone identity. Key changes include caps on immigration. Quebec plans to admit 48,500 to 51,500 newcomers in 2025, with a focus on skilled workers, but has suspended key permanent residency pathways like the PEQ graduate stream and skilled worker selection program until June 30, 2025. Temporary resident reduction. The province is aligning with Canada's goal to reduce temporary residents, leading to measures like the 6-month freeze on low-wage LMIA applications in Montreal and Laval, extended to November 30, 2025. Focus on local labor. Policies like the 25% cap on invitations for skilled workers from any single country, effective until October 9, 2025, aim to diversify immigration while prioritizing local hiring. While these measures address housing and infrastructure pressures, they've also created unintended consequences for businesses and workers. The suspension of foreign recruitment missions and stricter TFW rules have left companies struggling to fill labor gaps, especially in skilled trades like welding. What are the new wage requirements for temporary foreign workers? In areas with 6% or higher unemployment, employers must pay at least 20% more than the median wage $33 per hour for welders in Drummondville. Can affected workers apply for permanent residency? Yes, they can explore pathways like the PEQ Temporary Foreign Worker Stream or federal programs like the Canadian Experience Class. Will the TFW rules change again in 2025? It's possible Quebec plans to unveil a multi-year immigration plan by mid-2025, which may include updates to temporary worker policies. Key takeaways. The new Temporary Foreign Worker Program rules in 2025 have put 7 skilled welders at ircc Industries in Laval, Quebec, at risk of deportation, threatening their livelihoods and the company's operations. While the changes aim to prioritize local hiring, they overlook the reality of labor shortages in specialized trades like welding. Both workers and employers are calling for more flexible policies to retain talent and support Quebec's economy. If you're a temporary worker or employer facing similar challenges, exploring alternative immigration pathways and advocating for change can help secure a future in Canada. As the deportation clock ticks down, advocacy groups and legal experts continue to push for intervention, calling on the Canadian government to prioritize humane treatment and fair immigration reform. The fate of these workers now rests on swift action and a deeper commitment to balancing national policy with individual human rights. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.